purple revolution. A purple revolution. I hadn't heard of that, but my mutual, Tabitha Speaks Politics, clued me into it by one of her videos. You all go follow Tabitha because she is tireless in her work in covering politics through a Black American lens and keeping the community informed. But I want to show you all a video clip of one of the main people who is behind this so-called purple revolution. Warning, get your barf bags ready.
I've been doing some thinking, and I said at the very beginning that I would do what I had to do to make sure I bring our people together. So first things first, what I'm going to say is that I apologize from the bottom of my heart for voting for Trump, for voting for everything that ended up happening. I still to this day feel sick to my stomach looking back at the person that I was. And there's no excuse for it, no matter if I was manipulated or whatever you want to call it, in a cult. I should have had a stronger mind. And I allowed that to be penetrated. So for that, I apologize. Anybody who suffered at the hands of the government, you have my heartfelt sincerity.
I told y'all to have your barf bags ready. So this guy goes under the handle Purple Revolution. I did not do Etta Stitch's video because I do not want to give his videos any more exposure directly. But Purple Revolution comes from this idea that is spreading online among white folk, especially white MAGA, of white leftists, blue, and white MAGA, red, coming together, and blue combined with red is purple. So he goes on in this video, because it goes on for much longer, to say that he is so sorry and that people like him have changed their ways. They are sick to their stomach that they voted for Trump and that they were involved in MAGA, and they apologize to marginalized groups for the harm that is done, but that we need to forgive them and join with them so that we can fight this regime. We need to put aside the divisiveness and all that other bullshit. Then he goes on to say that he recognizes that words are cheap and hollow, but that he made this video and others like it to have accountability, and that we need to put our differences behind us and the whole kumbaya scenario. Black Americans, we knew this was going to happen. Here's what I want to say about this so-called purple revolution that's spreading online. We know that it is another manipulation tactic. For the first time in the history of this country, white Americans are finally dealing with the repercussions of their racism and their racist actions, including their vote. See, beforehand, they could be racist and vote in racist policies, and it would hurt Black Americans and everybody else that they hated. But see, things are much different now. This current era of the felon-in-chief, they are feeling the effects of their vote, and it's scaring them. That's why you have white farmers crying and begging the federal government that they voted in office to bail them out yet again. Every time they go to the grocery store or to put gas in their car, they get sticker shock. The cost of living in every aspect is skyrocketing. Now it is affecting them, and they're scared. Because, see, after November 5th, we Black Americans have not responded in the way that they thought that we would. They thought we would be out in the street protesting. putting our bodies on the line yet again to make change that benefits everybody else but us. And see, we're no longer doing that. And they have tried everything they could think of. This guy has the audacity to say, well, we need to join together. The left and the right and marginalized groups need to put away their distrust. You can kiss my black behind. Even now, we are dealing with black people being lynched and hung from trees. And the piss poor excuse for law enforcement is covering it up, saying suicide. When that fascist was unalived, the campuses of historically black colleges received bomb threats. And all over social media, his folk and his ilk threatening black Americans. Now, all of a sudden, we are supposed to believe that they woke up this morning and decided, oh no, we have seen the light. Every American deserves the rights guaranteed to us under the Constitution, and that every decent human being should enjoy. Get the fuck out of here with that. They're scared, you all. So now what they're doing is they're putting on this Kumbaya act. Oh, we no longer watch Fox News. I'm sick to my stomach that I voted for the felon in chief. And you think that we believe this? Here's the thing, though. They are correct in one way. In order for white supremacy to be deconstructed in this nation, white America, both left and right, are going to have to do it. And he asked the question, well, what can we do to prove our sincerity? I've got a couple of ideas. Number one, you and all of your MAGA, conservative, so-called Christian folk, and all of the white leftists, because you all are different flavors of the same ice cream, you all need to get together en masse and go down to Mar-a-Lago and go up to Washington, D.C., to the White House and to the Capitol with that energy that was brought on January 6th. And you need to vote for democracy after you do that. But then you have much more work to do. And all of the damage that this administration has done must be reversed. That's a lot of hard work. Black Americans didn't create the racial caste system. We didn't invent chattel slavery and racism. Y'all did. And guess what? The onus is on you to tear it down. Black Americans, don't fall for this Kumbaya act. Please. This is just a manipulation tactic to get us to do what we historically have always done, put our black bodies on the line to fight for our freedom and liberation, and any strides we make, everybody else enjoys. But we're still last in line. Not anymore. You all stay the course.
The white Americans who put Trump into power are saying they're very sorry, and they're calling upon you, the black person, to stand together with them, to come together, form some sort of revolution, which is the purple revolution, so they can forge a way forward out of the mess that they found themselves in. Okay, that is what's happening. Yes, you had me right. The purple revolution is alive and well. When I came across this, I was just thinking to myself, what is the purple revolution? Like, what's so important about it? But obviously, you've had the gentleman right there explain it, but honestly, it looks like the consequences of certain decisions. You know, when you make a decision, now you have to lay on it. You know, when you make the bed and now you have to lay on the bed, you have to lay in the decisions that you made because the cost of living is high. You know, it's not looking good for the states, guys. It's not looking good. From the outside looking in, it's not looking good. It's looking like, what is happening? You know, what is happening? It's really sad. But hey, will you join the Purple Revolution? Let's watch the other clips. Hi there, my name is Janita Maya. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here and you like videos like this or any other, please make sure you subscribe. Subscribe, guys. Yo, subscribe, okay? Subscribe. Okay, guys, let's dive in.
It's not left versus right. It's up versus down. Sure, but I think that we can do two things at the same time. I think we can acknowledge that there are wealth-hoarding capitalist monsters dooming millions of people into poverty, and then also some of those millions of people who are doomed to poverty also kind of want immigrants to have no rights in America, and also want women to have different rights in America, and also want gay people to have different rights. It's a little bit of left versus right. And I think that all of the conservatives coming on here talking about a purple revolution where we suddenly hold hands and sing Kumbaya and walk off into the sunset together have to first acknowledge that some of these culture war issues that they have been hoodwinked into thinking are very important to them are because those capitalist wealth hoarding monsters want them to focus on that, want them to marginalize and other minorities and not their fucking wealth hoarding capitalist overlords. I'm all for a purple revolution. I just need the color to be a little bit deeper, you know, kind of a bluish, like kind of a dark blue, like a really deep blue where everybody has fucking equal rights, you know?
I'm going to show you in a minute and a half why I have a hard time trusting this purple revolution.
If you're a leftist, I have a strong message for you.
Not that, that's fine. Stick with me though.
Hi, I'm Hunter Howell and I want to be your friend.
And yes, I know who Hunter is. I watched a lot of his streams over the last year, before the election when he was really rooting hard for our current president.
Now, just because I lean right on some issues, we all can agree that our government is occupied by Israel, by AIPAC, by Netanyahu, by the IDF.
Yes, we can agree to that, and I think there were plenty of people talking about this even before the election.
And it's time for a change. And in order to make that change, we need what's called a purple revolution.
We're almost there. Hold on, you'll see.
We can go back to disagreements later.
What kind of differences, Hunter? What kind of differences are we talking about?
Petty differences aside.
And there it is, petty differences. Now, when you say petty differences, what differences are you talking about exactly?
Some formal policy in regards to domestic issues.
Now, he didn't clarify which domestic issues he was talking about, but let's talk about a few domestic issues that we will simply not be able to disagree on and everything just be okay. Now, Hunter, I'm going to assume that you and me are alike in the fact that we are both white, straight males. But here's a few things. The LGBTQIA plus community deserves to be free and happy to love who they love, be who they are, and this includes gay people, trans people, the whole 9 yards. Women deserve to be free to make their own healthcare decisions and decisions about their body without input from you and me. People that are a different skin tone than us, they deserve to be treated with respect and have all the same freedoms that we have. Undocumented immigrants deserve to be treated with respect, given due process, and treated like they matter, like they're actual human beings. I could go on and on and on, but if those are what you call petty differences, those are not petty differences. Those are human rights. Those are morals that I can never compromise on. And this, and the way that that video and the way that he framed that is why right now at this point, I don't trust this purple revolution. I would say sorry, not sorry, but respectfully, it's just not sorry because there's no compromise on human rights. And unless that's part of the revolution and part of this conversation, then there's really nothing we have to talk about.
Okay, I'm going to say something about this purple revolution that's probably going to piss some people off, but it needs to be said. I am so happy that people are finally acknowledging that it's up versus down and not left versus right. However, in order for this to be successful, you're going to have people on the right acknowledge the fact that they were terrorizing the minorities on the left, the black people, the LGBT, the minorities of this country. Because the strategy that up versus down used was to divide us, yes. But the people on the right have been terrorizing the people on the left, saying that they're trying to groom children, saying that they don't belong here, that they're less than American. And unless that rhetoric changes, how do you expect all of these minorities to stand in solidarity with people who are just now realizing they're being affected? When these people have been, arguably the last 10 years, but the entire history of this country. So if y'all want this to work, they're gonna have to take a little bit of accountability and at least acknowledge that they were tricked.
The Purple Revolution. Let's talk about it. I'm still doing research on it. I will be honest. The topic is new to me, but I'm seeing it come up on my timeline more and more. So I started looking at videos, started looking up the hashtag. I found the one gentleman's account. I saw his one video where he kind of breaks it all down, who he is, his background, that he voted for this administration, his apology, regrets he has. I saw it. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But with this Purple Revolution, a lot of it is questions. You know, what can they do? How can they prove themselves? Things of that nature, right? And again, disclaimer, I'm speaking for myself. I don't speak for anybody. I don't speak for any group. I don't speak for any of my mutuals. I don't speak for any of my followers. My opinions on this are strictly my own. But my take on this is, for me personally, if you want to prove to me that you do have regrets, that you truly apologize for voting for this administration, that you truly feel that you made a mistake, you need to go through the same adversity that people who look like me or any variation of my skin color have had to go through, not just with this administration, but our entire lives for the most part. What you can do if you want to associate yourself with the Purple Revolution is, since you come from that world who voted for this administration, you need to start holding the people in your community accountable. You're going to have some very uncomfortable conversations with the people that you know. And guess what? This is the part you might not like, because historically, you guys don't do too well with adversity. And I'll give you an example. You might lose some of those friends. You might lose some of those family members. And it's going to hurt. But you know what? That's some of the adversity that people like me have had to deal with my entire life. Right? Why I say you guys don't deal with adversity too well? Well, if any of you remember the little blue bracelet movement thing that was happening here on TikTok, it was a bunch of red voters who were like, hey, we want to identify as the good ones and we should wear blue bracelets. And they got called out for that being minimal effort. And what happened to that movement? That movement lasted all but like 1 weekend. Because as soon as they felt a little pushback, a little adversity, they were like, now, you know what? Forget it, man. This is too much. Right? Because they were told that that's minimal effort, wearing a bracelet. And they were just like, they just threw their hands up. Oh, forget it. Forget it. We're not going to do it. Forget it. You see, the slightest bit of adversity, they gave up. So if you really want to apologize, if you really regret what you did, if you really regret what you've done, you got to start facing some adversity. You got to start having some really uncomfortable conversations and calling out the people around you. Because clearly the people around you must vote and think the same way. Otherwise, they would not be the people around you, right? So that's kind of my take on it. I'm not with the whole meeting people halfway who haven't done the work, right? Because throughout my entire life, when I was asking for grace, when I was asking people to stop, when I was asking people to leave me alone with the discrimination and the racism and their prejudices, they didn't. Nobody met me halfway. Nobody gave me any grace. They didn't give people who look like me any grace. They didn't meet people halfway who look like me, right? So respectfully, it's not going to be that simple by simply asking us now to meet you halfway. You got to do the work. We're over here on our side where you wanted us. You didn't want us halfway, so we moved over more. You have to do the work now. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be uncomfortable. And that's the part that I want to see. I want to see how you all deal with that discomfort now. I want to see how you all deal when people don't want to agree with you. Until I see that, I'm not meeting anyone halfway, and I'm not giving anyone any grace. Do the work. Face the challenges. Deal with the adversity. And before I forget, probably the most important part, because the reason how we got here, I want to see how you're all going to vote next November. That's going to be the final test. Everything you do from this day all the way for the next 13 months until election day in the midterms, that's your final test.
All right, guys, we've come to the end of this episode, but yeah, it's not looking good for the other side. What's your take on this? Are you joining the Purple Revolution? Is this your thing? Do you want to work together, join hands, and stand up? for people, they made a mistake. They're now calling upon you who is watching to kumbaya and let's fight together. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'll be sure to hear all about it. Please make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms at Juanita Maya. Check out my website, juanitamaya.com, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.